So, a conflict that many people thought was pretty much contained has just suddenly and very dramatically escalated. It's now pulling in some of the world's biggest economic and travel hubs. Today, we're going to break down this rapidly developing crisis, what's behind Iran's recent attacks on its Gulf neighbors, and what it all means for the entire region.
And just to be clear, these are not hypotheticals. These are real places that have been hit recently. We're talking about strikes on massive high rises, on key infrastructure, and even on international airports. A conflict that, for many, seemed pretty distant is now causing direct disruptions in major global centers for finance and travel. And, that creates economic shockwaves that go far, far beyond the Middle East.
So, this brings us to the big questions on everyone's mind, right? Who is actually behind these attacks, and what's the motive here? Well, the answer isn't as mysterious as you might think, but it is a lot more alarming. Iran hasn't just claimed responsibility, they're also providing a very stark justification for their actions.
Okay, so let's get into Iran's official position. They aren't framing these as random acts of aggression at all. No. For them, this is a calculated new phase in their ongoing conflict, and it's all built around a new and, frankly, dangerous declaration.
And right here, this is the crucial point. Iran has now officially declared that any Gulf countries allied with the United States are legitimate targets. This just completely changes the rules of the game. Countries like the UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait, from Iran's perspective, they're no longer neutral bystanders. They're seen as direct participants in this conflict.
And you can see the impact is very real. This isn't just political talk. The targets are the cornerstones of civilian life and the economy. We're talking high-rise buildings, critical national infrastructure, and busy international airports. These attacks are absolutely designed to cause the most disruption possible, to rattle global markets, and to send a message that nowhere is off limits anymore. This gets right to the heart of Iran's political argument. The Iranian foreign minister is saying flat out that they see this whole conflict as a war of choice that the United States started for Israel. In their view, the entire idea of an Iranian threat was just made up to justify American military action.
And the seriousness of their position becomes crystal clear with this statement. This is a direct and incredibly powerful accusation. Iran is putting the blame for both American and Iranian casualties squarely on Israel. They're essentially trying to tell the American people, hey, this isn't your fight. But of course, that's only one side of the story. To really get the full picture, you have to look at the American counter-narrative, the reason the U.S. is given for its own operations against Iran. And, well, it paints a completely different reality.
This slide really breaks down that fundamental disagreement. On one side, you have Iran claiming the U.S. is fighting Israel's war based on a made-up threat. On the other side, you have the U.S. consistently saying that Iran is a rogue nation with a robust nuclear program that poses a direct threat to global security. These are two completely irreconcilable stories fueling this whole thing.
So while these two major powers are locked in this war of words and actions, a whole region is being pulled right into the line of fire. These Gulf nations, they're facing an impossible situation, really. They're trapped between their powerful ally, the U.S., and their very aggressive neighbor, Iran.
And make no mistake, this isn't random. It is a deliberate strategy. By attacking the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, Iran is trying to globalize the war. The whole point is to put immense pressure on the United States, to show them that their alliances in the region come at a very, very high price. They're hoping to force a change in American policy.
And, what adds to all the volatility is the mixed messaging coming from Iran. Even as missiles are hitting their neighbors, the Iranian foreign minister claims Iran is not at war with regional countries. This creates this deeply unstable and unpredictable environment where what they say and what they do are two totally different things. And all of this brings us to the incredibly volatile situation we're in today. Iran has drawn a new line in the sand. They've declared U.S. allies legitimate targets, and their actions show they fully intend to keep up these attacks. The key takeaway here is that the conflict is no longer contained. It's actively and intentionally getting wider. And so we're left with the most pressing question of all. Now that Iran is actively treating major U.S. allies as direct players in this war, what happens next? Are we just watching the opening moves of a much larger and potentially far more devastating regional conflict? That remains the unanswered and deeply troubling question.